What I'm about to show you right now in as much real time as possible is something that I hear almost 8 out of 10 times when it comes to the music of new composers. I'm done. Check out my new track. So to be fair here, I obviously summed up the worst of the worst that I am experiencing and hearing when I listen to the music of new composers. So hand on the heart, and I want to be really honest here, I probably wrote worse music than what you heard right now over here. And in my opinion, the problem isn't really to write bad music. We all wrote bad music at some point. I mean, we all know without mistakes we can't improve and we can't get better. So this is natural. However, what is not natural is excessive use of copy and paste like I did over here. So if you are a new composer, please try to avoid using copy and paste as much as you can. I mean, don't get me wrong here, copy and paste can be pretty helpful when it comes to complicated parts that you want to repeat later on in a track. But if you copy entire sections by just adding and removing a little bit of stuff like I did over here, your track will become really annoying and boring to listen to. And on top of that, it may be the number one reason, A, why people don't want to listen to your music, and B, why companies, trailer companies, video game companies reject your music. So now that we have talked about the copy and paste problem, let's try to solve all the other issues that are going on with this track and try to improve it. Okay, so I'm leaving this track here untouched and just copy over the parts and try to build it from there so we have an A-B comparison later on. So the first thing we can optimize is the chord progression. We have some lame A minor to G major to F major to E minor, but let's do it like this. So the next point is to make sure to understand how string players are playing. No string player sits there, violin here, and oh, another note. I'm taking my bow back and then, attacking the next note. So this is what keyboard players doing, or amateur keyboard players like me, when they change chords. You have this little gap. This gap is not going on with stringed instruments. So let's fix this. The next thing we want to do is fix the dynamics. Please be aware, almost every library can be triggered with a mod wheel to control dynamics. So let's fix this now. Let's make this a nice intro here. Now let's keep writing. I would say now it's a good time to copy and paste this part and put it together. And now we can see what's going on here. Let's tie this note here. Also, we take care of the dynamics later. So what I want to do now is introduce the melody already, that the listener gets an idea of what is going on with that track. Okay, so I made this twice as long, so let's extend this one. And now let's take care of the entire dynamics again here. Okay, so next up I'm going to take care of the verse or the main theme, but I want to go with a lower inversion of these chords. Okay, so next I want to add a quick bass, and I just want to leave it at pedal bass here. I'm doing it all with ensemble string patches here right now, with an ensemble string patch. And just in the last, I'm going down to an E. So let's listen to this. Okay, so now I took care of the verses bass or the main theme's bass also. I just decided to go with a pedal bass, but go down on the E. But then on the second half, I'm picking up the bass notes here from the chords. So this may be a good opportunity to just copy and paste this, and I just did a few cuts here and cleaned out the notes that were hanging over, so I have clear, let's say, arrangement bits that I can work with. I can connect this later, no problem. So on the second half here, I just wanted to have a little bit more movement in the bass. So the first chord is an A minor going into an E minor, right? But I just felt I wanted to have a little bit of variety on the bass here, so I'm moving up to not the root note here of the E minor, but to the fifth, the B. Okay, so let's get to the ostinato, or this little arpeggio here. I find that a little bit too boring, but I don't want to make this stand out too much in the foreground, so I probably go with something like... It's just basically one note that changes, and now we want to make also sure that it's connected to the chords, right? So just blend it in the sustain string so you can see what is going on here. So let's make this ostinato a little bit more interesting. So I'm just going to compress the velocity a little bit and bring it up. And now let's switch to 16th grit here. Just copy that all, put it on here and then bring the velocity down here. And now you got something like this. Okay, so it's time for the horn melody, and I'm aware that this melody is a little bit generic, but let's make the best out of it. Going up. So we basically did two things here. We got a little bit away from this kindergartenish, too simple melody. And on the second half, we went up and we let the E hang there for a second and then moving down to the D. Because why would we want to change a note when the chord is doing all the magic here? Okay, so let's continue with the percussions here. I want to have something simple in this first half of the main theme, but in my opinion, also percussions is the point where many people just copy and paste. So there is nothing wrong, again, with using some copy and pasting, but at least you want to put some variety into the different parts. So let me show you what I'm trying to say here. Okay, so we have this one thing here. Let me just quickly quantize this and cut it appropriately. And then we just copy that over, oops, and put it together. And then at the end, we just go something like, we just make it 4/8 notes here. And what we also do is just lowering the dynamic a little bit here because I don't want to have it too loud. Can you have the first one a little bit louder? We can make it a little bit more interesting by going... Okay, and now we just want to have a little bit more of a decent arrangement here for the second half. Okay, so now let's copy and paste this again here. And just put some more variety towards the end. Oops. So we got our basic arrangement set up. Okay, so now let's make this a little bit more interesting. So we already got some decent variety here. I'm just going to use this as some kind of like a filler. And then I'm copying that over to other toms as well. So we got something like this. And last but not least, we have another layer here on top. Nothing special, just 16th notes. And it sounds like this. Now let's make this a little bit more interesting and select all of these notes except the first one, because without a lot of a mess, I just want to have some rough quantize of like 10 beats, something. And I hit quantize and it sounds like this. Before, after. So by quantizing or humanizing all of these notes, you get a little bit of a wider sounding arrangement. Okay, so one of the biggest mistakes that I'm hearing new composers do is actually the arrangement itself. Most of the time, I just hear strings, I hear percussions, and I hear a horn melody. What about the woodwinds? If needed? What about the trombones and the low brass in general? Okay, so I have loaded another contact instance here for the trombones. And by the way, I'm only using Nucleus by Audio Imperia for the entire orchestral instruments, except for the percussions. I'm using Heaviosity's Damage 1. Okay, so let's record some trombones. And what I'm going to do is one of my favorite things. I'm going to use close chords for all these trombones here. So big price question here. You can see that there are gaps going on. Probably don't need them here, so let's connect these. But why did I do this? The big answer is trombone players use their breath to play their instruments, therefore they need to breathe. And this is what also many composers do wrong. So I'm fully aware that there are a lot of excellent brass players out there that do, for example, circular breathing or something. They try to minimize this gap and sometimes you don't even hear it. But please be reminded, we are using sample libraries. We already use something that is artificial to some sense, and we just want to keep up the realism at least a little bit. Okay, so we still need our melody here in the first half of the main theme. I just loaded the solo clarinet from Solo, another Audio Imperia library. Let's change, so it's not the same as the other melody. So we got a little bit more variety in here too. Okay, so I hope this video was helpful to you. Let's just listen to this roughly 1 minute that we did here right now in this 20-minute video. Of course, this track is far from being done, but I hope it gave you a good impression on what to be aware of, what to take care of. And also, if you want to learn more about these sample libraries that I've used, I put the links down in the video description. Also, you will find lots of links to free resources to my courses that will hopefully help you to write better music. Again, thanks so much for checking out this video. Let's listen to this track one more time and then hopefully see you in another video.